Because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
That's a possibility, for real.
Yeah.
Angel Reese has just made waves in the WNBA with a powerful ultimatum: pay us more, or we'll sit out. Her bold statement has sparked a renewed debate over salaries in women's sports, sending shockwaves through the basketball world.
A league that averages losing $25–30 million a year, and these women are talking about, if we don't get what we want, if we don't get what we deserve, if you got what you deserve, you'd be paying to play in the WNBA.
As the talk of a boycott spread rapidly, Caitlin Clark took a different approach. Rather than comparing the WNBA to the NBA, she chose to emphasize the incredible progress the women's game is making.
And television ratings, if you understand media rights deals, if you got common sense, there's no reason for a WNBA player ever in life compare the WNBA to the NBA, all right? Even as bad as the NBA's ratings have gotten, they're still better than the majority of all WNBA games.
Notice the contrast. This difference in mindset is significant. One approach demands immediate change, while the other prioritizes building a sustainable future. So, how did we get here? Let us break it down.
Because Dejanay Carrington was on with Angel Reese on her podcast when Angel Reese sent a message out there threatening to set out. Good Lord. All right.
That's right, Angel Reese isn't just asking for better pay. She's warning that the entire WNBA could come to a standstill if her demands aren't met. On her Unapologetically Angel podcast, she made a statement that has everyone talking.
The meetings, they are.
I need to get in the, I need to get in the field.
You need to come to the
I
meetings.
gotta get in the meetings, because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
That's a possibility, for real.
Yeah.
She didn't hold back. If y'all don't give us what we want, we're sitting out. This call for a boycott carries significant weight. Just imagine one of the WNBA's rising stars is already considering walking away from the game. What makes this even more intriguing is that Reese has been actively involved in discussions about the upcoming collective bargaining agreement (CBA). This agreement shapes everything from revenue sharing to salary caps and player benefits. Reese is particularly concerned that next year's rookies could end up earning more than the current players. That's right, she's worried that newcomers might land better contracts than the veterans who've already put in the hard work.
We all did it.
Yeah, the CBA is coming up. I can't wait.
Girl, y'all benefited from everything. Y'all youngins benefited from NIL.
What does that mean? We deserve more.
Of course,
everybody.
I agree.
Everybody.
I agree with that.
But we gotta get face the consequences. Damn, we gotta get it up.
Y'all gotta
like
deal with something. Y'all gotta do something.
But the women coming in, not this year, but next year, or the ones coming in this year will still be on the rookie contract again. The ones the year after, they gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us.
They are. Like,
at first glance, this might seem like a simple negotiation tactic, but here's where things get complicated. The WNBA is booming. Viewership is reaching record highs, merchandise is flying off the shelves, and interest in women's basketball is at an all-time peak.
And so they're going to risk ruining a good thing. The last thing they need is some sort of work stoppage.
Pushing for higher salaries at this moment could come across as impatience or worse, greed.
You would actually, anyway, this is just a bad look for the WNBA. Angel Reese just wants content for her podcast. She's playing checkers and
But here's the reality check Reese may be overlooking. The WNBA has never been profitable in its 28-year history, not even once. The league has relied on financial support from the NBA just to stay afloat. This huge gap between expectations and financial reality is impossible to ignore.
And these women are talking about, if we don't get what we want, if we don't get what we deserve, if you got what you deserve, you'd be paying to play in the WNBA.
The numbers paint a clear picture. The WNBA loses between 25 to 30 million each year, even with NBA funding. These losses make it impossible to justify higher paychecks. You can't distribute money that simply isn't there.
So, of course, literally, this league has never turned a profit, ever. You guys know that. I have to keep bringing it up because a lot of people don't, believe it or not, they don't know that in the 27-year, 28-year existence of this women's pro basketball league, it has been kept afloat because of the subsidization of the NBA and their owners keeping it alive. Otherwise, it would have died a long time ago, and Caitlin Clark would have never had a chance to straighten out the league.
Angel Reese's stance reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of sports economics. Athletes earn based on the revenue they generate. That is why NFL players make more than AAF players, why Premier League footballers earn more than MLS players, and why NBA salaries dwarf those in the WNBA. The ongoing CBA negotiations will shape the league's future through 2026, making this a crucial moment for steady leadership. Right now, the WNBA is finally gaining serious momentum after years of financial struggles with more fans, bigger sponsors, and packed arenas. Reese's call for a boycott represents short-term thinking, especially when long-term strategy is key. A strike could halt progress just when the league is starting to thrive. Fighting for fair pay is important, but so is the approach. Just when the salary debate was heating up, Caitlin Clark entered the conversation and completely shifted the narrative. While one rookie was making threats, the WNBA's biggest name took a completely different approach, one that shows she truly understands the business of basketball. Speaking at a 2025 cardiovascular research event, Clark had the perfect opportunity to rally behind the boycott, but instead, she chose a smarter path. She dismissed the comparison between the WNBA and NBA entirely.
So, enter in Caitlin Clark. And I'm going to tell you, very solid answer from Caitlin Clark, because she's asked about it, about comparing the WNBA to the NBA when it comes to things like salary. And Caitlin Clark, well, let's just say she doesn't agree with Angel Reese.
I'm not big on comparing the WNBA to the NBA. I don't think that's fair, Clark said, shifting the focus from unrealistic demands to meaningful progress. See the difference? Instead of pushing for money that isn't there yet, she's celebrating the massive growth the WNBA is experiencing. Clark praised the league's progress, saying, "I think where the league is right now is pretty incredible."
For Caitlin Clark, comparisons between the league is pointless. Bravo. Somebody's got a brain. She says she is focused on how the WNBA can keep growing. Quote, "I'm not huge on comparing the WNBA to the NBA. I don't think that's fair." Wow, logic everywhere here, folks.
Think about that. The one player with the most leverage to demand more money is instead highlighting how far the league has come. That's not just good PR. It's a smart business move.
I mean, I'm not huge on comparing the WNBA to the NBA. I don't really think that's fair. Obviously, I think where the WNBA is right now is pretty incredible. I think a lot of people, or most people, would not believe it's in the place that it is right now. So I think when people always ask me this question, where I think it'll be in 5 years, is it's hard for me to answer because people didn't even think we'd be right here, right now. And I think really sky's the limit.
Clark's response is even more impressive because she's the main reason behind the WNBA's recent surge in popularity. She could easily be the loudest voice demanding higher pay, but instead, she's playing the long game. She understands that true salary growth follows revenue growth, not the other way around. And she didn't just make vague statements, she broke down the real factors that impact WNBA salaries.
Our TV numbers when we're on, national television, we're averaging over 1 million viewers or whatever it is. The All-Star game, I think, was over 4 million viewers. It's just really big numbers. So the more opportunities we're given, I think the more it's going to...
She specifically pointed out the difference in workload between the leagues. The NBA plays a grueling 82-game season, while the WNBA has just 40 games, set to increase to 40 next year. This shows she understands that pay is tied to both workload and revenue, factors often overlooked in these debates. Clark also highlighted the league's expansion plans, with 2 new teams joining next year and more on the way. This expansion directly addresses one of the WNBA's biggest challenges: you can't raise salaries without first growing the business. More teams mean more games, greater fan engagement, more sponsors, and ultimately, more revenue for the players. The key takeaway from Clark's perspective is her confidence in the league's future. When she says the sky's the limit for the WNBA, she's not just offering feel-good statements, she's demonstrating a deep understanding of sports economics. More viewers lead to better sponsorships, which increases revenue, and that ultimately leads to bigger paychecks.
Games. That is a huge thing that a lot of people don't talk about, right? The NBA plays probably more than double. WNBA will play 44 next year, 40 they just played. I think they've only been doing that a few seasons. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the NBA also has a much longer playoff. They've got a lot more games on TV, a lot more opportunity for TV ratings, which means media rights ad revenue, and that is what allows these leagues to pay the salaries they do.
See the major difference in approach. One demands instant gratification without considering the financial realities, while the other is focused on long-term success. Clark is thinking several steps ahead while others are reacting in the heat of the moment.
It's all still her. All right, and that's who everybody has tuned into, is Caitlin Clark. It is not anybody else. Let's not get confused. Ratings, revenue, the whole nine.
The disparity in workload highlights the salary gap even more. NBA players face a grueling schedule with 82 regular season games plus a lengthy playoff run, while WNBA players play just 40 games, literally half the workload. Expecting equal pay for half the games, especially when the revenue generated is a fraction of that of the NBA, doesn't make sense. Yet, this is precisely what Angel Reese is advocating for, a stance that reflects a broader issue across all professional sports.